Now, for Sadako, all of these events were very far in the past and not nearly as interesting as the fall sports day. She and her classmates trained very hard, and when at last the day came, Sadako wanted to fly like the wind. How many of you have ever wanted to fly like the wind, or had something you liked to do so much it made your heart sing to even think of it? If I had known how to write my own songs then, I would have written a song like this, imagining Sadako, the last runner, as she waited for the baton. Sadako, I'm with you. I've seen how your legs can fly. I know how you run and climb a tree and launch yourself to the sky. Sadako, you're ready. Your class has prepared with care. I stand with your friends to cheer you on and watch you take to the air. Fly like the wind, Sadako-chan. Fly like the wind today. Run, little monkey, Sadako-chan, and you'll carry the day. Fly like the wind, Sadako-chan. Fly like the wind today. Run, little monkey, Sadako-chan, and with you we will fly all the way. It's almost her turn. Our class is in second place, but maybe she'll catch up. There's the baton. And she's off. Sadako, she's running. Her feet barely touch the ground. Sadako, she's catching up. She's ahead. Oh, fly like the wind, Sadako-chan. Oh, fly like the wind today. Fly like the wind, Sadako-chan. Oh, she's done it. She has done it. We have won it. We have carried the day. Sadako's class came in first that year. And all of those months of training together had brought them closer than ever. And so Sadako's classmates were quite concerned when Sadako came to school one day looking, this is after she came back to school after the winter break, looking a little different than they remembered her. Her face was a little bit swollen here and on her chin, and she said she had a sore throat and didn't feel very good. So her parents took her to see the family doctor, Dr. Hatagawa. And after some special tests, the doctor told Sadako's parents in private that Sadako had what was called atom bomb disease, leukemia, a form of cancer brought on by the radiation she experienced as a 2-year-old girl. Dr. Hatagawa thought Sadako had a year to live, at the most. Now, there were many people in Hiroshima suffering the after effects of radiation. And Sadako's parents knew it could happen to anyone in the city, but they could hardly bear the thought of it happening to their Sadako. And they decided that very afternoon to do something to keep their spirits up. They decided to get Sadako's first kimono. Now, this was a very big decision because Sadako's family didn't have a lot of money. A couple years earlier, they had signed on a loan for a neighbor out of a feeling of goodwill, and this neighbor had betrayed them and vanished, leaving Sadako's family terribly in debt. But more terrible than debt was the thought of losing Sadako. So, Sadako's father, who was a barber, got out the money that they'd been saving up for emergencies. Carefully counted it, and went off to get Sadako. When Sadako saw her father, she said, "Father, Father, Father, why are you here? School's not out yet. Am I sick?" And Sadako's father couldn't bear to tell her what Dr. Hatagawa had told them, so he just said, "No, everything's fine. We just need to do a couple more tests, and you'll need to be in the hospital for a little while. But first, we have a surprise." "A surprise? What is that, Father?" "Today we're going to buy you your first kimono." "My first kimono?" "Kimonos are very expensive." "And why today?" But her father told her not to worry and took her straight to Kotobukiya, a famous kimono fabric store in Hiroshima. When they got there, Sadako was full of wonder, looking at all the different kinds of fabric. She looked at every single fabric they had until she settled on the one she liked best, with a beautiful cherry blossom design. Now, Sadako's father thought that his daughter would look beautiful in this fabric, and he was already planning to take the entire family to Sadako's aunt's house, because Sadako's aunt was an expert seamstress and particularly skilled at making kimonos. Sadako could hardly stand the weight. Well, the clerk measured the cloth, carefully cut the cloth, and then even more carefully folded it up. It was a busy day at Kotobukiya, so her father had to stand in a line where he recounted the money to make sure they had enough. Sadako waited, looking sometimes at her father and sometimes at the cloth that was being prepared, trying very hard to be patient. And when at last it was paid for, she picked up her cloth and she went home with it gleefully, so happy to have the cloth for her first kimono. Her family had to say, "Sadako, put the cloth down. We need to pack for the train." So she finally put the cloth down. They packed their bags and they went to Sadako's aunt's house. Sadako and her cousins played. They had a beautiful dinner. And then after the kids went to bed, Sadako's aunt, Sadako's mother, and Sadako's oldest cousin stayed up through the night sewing a kimono for Sadako. Each one of those stitches was a kind of prayer, a kind of wish that Sadako would get better. And in the morning, there was Sadako's kimono. When Sadako saw it, she burst into tears, not only because it was so beautiful, but because she was worried about all the time and money and attention that was being spent on her. "No, no, Sadako," said Sadako's mother. "We've been looking forward to you wearing your first kimono for a long time. Try it on.